So, what if divine communication wasn't really about a list of ancient rules, but something way more personal, like an invitation? That's what we're diving into today, this idea of God's love letters. We're going to take a look at how this connection is described as something really intimate and something that's still happening. I mean, let's be real, our world is incredibly noisy, right? There's just a constant barrage of information and distractions. So in the middle of all that chaos, how on earth are you supposed to hear a quiet whisper that's meant just for you? That question, it really gets to the very heart of what we're talking about today. The challenge, but also the amazing possibility of hearing that personal message. Okay, so imagine you get a mysterious text message out of the blue. All it says is, "I've been trying to reach you." Kind of intriguing, right? Well, the idea we're exploring here is that the creator is sending a very similar kind of message. And thinking about it like that completely reframes the whole thing. It shifts it from something maybe distant or even intimidating to something incredibly personal and curious. It makes you think, wait, there's more to this story. All right, so the first big idea we need to get our heads around is this. At its core, this is not about information. The entire foundation of this concept is a divine desire for connection, for a real relationship. You know, that really calls for a major shift in perspective, doesn't it? It suggests that at the heart of the universe isn't just cold, empty space, but a deep longing for connection. The idea here is that we're living in a personal reality, one that is actively reaching out to us. And this whole idea of companionship, it's shown as being there from the very beginning. The picture we get isn't some king on a faraway throne, but of someone just taking a casual stroll through a garden, looking for a conversation. This one image sets the stage for a theme we'll see again and again, this deep desire to connect and reconnect. So how did this conversation actually play out? Well, in the Old Testament, the methods described are incredibly diverse. It's definitely not a one-size-fits-all approach. It's more of a dynamic, creative communication style that uses the full range of expression, from the quietest whispers to the loudest thunders. Just look at the contrast here. It's pretty amazing. For one person, the prophet Elijah, who is at his absolute lowest point, the message comes as a profoundly intimate, gentle whisper. But then, for an entire nation at a huge, pivotal moment in their history, it's the awesome, overwhelming power of thunder and lightning. This just goes to show a communication style that's specifically tailored to the audience and the situation. This brings us to a huge turning point in the whole narrative. The arrival of Jesus is presented as the ultimate form of communication, where the message is no longer just a collection of spoken words, but a living, breathing reality, the message in human form. And this communication was so multifaceted. It wasn't just giving abstract speeches. Through this masterful storytelling, really deep truths became relatable. Through signs and wonders, God's character was shown in tangible ways you could actually see. And crucially, through these one-on-one conversations, the approach became totally personalized, meeting people exactly where they were in their lives. But the story doesn't end there, not at all. After Jesus, the model for communication evolves again. It shifts from something that was happening primarily on the outside to something happening deep on the inside, an ongoing inner dialogue. So the crucial point here is this concept of the indwelling spirit. The idea is that the divine presence isn't just with people anymore, but within them. And that transforms everything. Divine communication is no longer an event you have to go to. It becomes a conversation you carry with you. And this leads to the big practical question, doesn't it? If the conversation moves inside, how do you know what's you and what's something more? How do you tell the difference? It's a real challenge of discernment, and it's something the source material addresses directly. And here are the guidelines it offers. You can think of these as a set of filters to run things through. First, does it line up with the established written word? Second, what's its character? Does it produce things like love and peace? Third, does it bring a deep sense of peace even if the message itself is difficult? And finally, is it confirmed by wise people in your community? So does this conversation still happen today? The sources we're looking at present the answer as a definite yes, that the invitation to listen is an ongoing, present-day reality. And this timeline brings the whole concept right into our modern world. We see examples from Mother Teresa's life-altering Call Within a Call on a train in India, to Immaculée Alibagiza, hearing a promise of survival while hiding during the Rwandan genocide. These are incredibly powerful accounts from people who believed they were part of this continuing conversation.
This quote from A.W. Tozer really just captures the essence of it all. The emphasis on the present tense, is speaking, frames this not as some historical artifact, but as a living, dynamic reality. The idea that the creative voice is, by its very nature, still speaking.
And that brings us right back to the beginning, that personal invitation at the heart of this entire idea. If this cosmic conversation is ongoing, if that message I've been trying to reach you is real, then the only question left is the one right there on the screen. How will you respond?